How's everybody doing today? I certainly hope you're doing well. It's that time again for story time. Now, I like to let people know whether or not it's a true story or not. It is not a true story. It is a story in which I created. So let's go ahead and begin. The name of the story is called Boxes. Now, you see, there was a woman by the name of Carla. She was 28 years of age, and she'd lived in Wyoming all of her life. And she'd been married to her husband. His name is Brad. But you see, Brad, he's a big, huge, muscular guy. He's probably about 6 foot. He's about 240 pounds, and he's all muscle. So you see, Carla, she applied for a job at a candle manufacturer in Vermont, and she secured that job. So it took them a couple of weeks to pack up household and move to Vermont, rent a place until they could buy one, so that way she could start her brand new job. Now, Brad, he worked as a computer consultant, so he was one of those remote employees where he just worked at home. And that was really good for him because he does a lot of working out and he does a lot of exercising. He goes to the gym. He's got a gym at home. You know, it was a great situation. Plus, he was, of course, providing income for the family, or for those two as a couple. So they both go out to Vermont. They rent a place, and Monday morning, it's in January of 2017, and she is to start this job, and she's in the administrative / finances of this candle manufacturer. So Monday morning, she gets her things. She goes into work, her very first day at work, and she brings a box. And the contents of this box are like lamps and art and pictures of her and Brad together, and, you know, maybe notepads and all sorts of things that you'd have for starting your office or trying to get some sort of acclimation to your brand new office. So she walks into the company, and she goes to the receptionist, and she's looking for a manager by the name of Amy. Of course, the receptionist calls up Amy. Amy comes out, and she's so congenial. She's so polite. She can't even believe how polite these people are. And the reviews of this candle manufacturer are just awesome. There's just hardly anything bad said about this company. So Amy comes out and says, "Oh, hi, Carla, how are you? Well, let me go ahead and show you to your office. I'll show you where the break room is and the bathroom. I'll let you meet people in your immediate area. And you can get acclimated to your office and set it up the way you want. If you want to move the bookshelf from over here to over there, well, we'll get to it in just a moment." So as they're walking down the hall, she's like, "Okay, these are the bathrooms over here, and this is the break room. There's plenty of coffee. There's free soda pop in the refrigerator. We keep it stocked 24/7. Oh, and by the way, this is Becky. Oh, hi, how you doing? And this is Mark. Oh, yeah." And then she comes to her office, and it's a big office, too. We're not talking about a cubicle. No, sir, no, ma'am. We're talking about an absolute office. So she shows her office, and it's absolutely huge. There's these big windows that her office is kind of like L-shaped, right? These huge windows, and the windows are overlooking the parking area, which is great because in case Brad ever wants to come and meet her for lunch or pick her up after work or whatever, she can see that he's there, right? And then an office that's not quite directly across from her, but offset a little bit, is a gentleman by the name of Sid. He's about 32 years of age, so he's kind of around her age, and Amy says, "Oh, and by the way, this is Sid, and this is your office." So she walks into the office, and again, Amy says to her, "You know, if you want to move things around, maybe you want the chair over there, and you want the coffee table over here, and the couch, whatever you want to do. We have some nails in the walls, so you can put up your artwork wherever you want, and just make yourself at home. We'll give you a good hour, hour and a half, so you can set up your office the way you want it. Because, after all, Carla, we want you to be comfortable." Carla's like, she just can't even believe it, right? She feels like she hit the jackpot with this company. They're so nice, right? So Carla walks in, she sets down her box of personal things on her desk, and she starts taking out her notepads and pens and pen holders and such, and she starts hanging up a little bit of artwork and setting up little flowers and that sort of thing, making her office her office. And then who pops their head in? Well, the guy adjacent from her office, Sid. And he just waltzes right in, and he says, "Oh, hey, welcome to the company. I've been with this company for, ever since it started. So, if you have any questions," and then he's interrupting himself, and he reaches inside of her box and grabs a photograph of her and Brad. And in the photograph, like I said, Brad is a big dude. Brad is wearing a top hat in the photograph. And he says, "So, who might this be?" And she looks at him like, "What are you doing?" He goes, I was just looking at the..." She takes a picture out of his hand. It says, "Excuse me, do you mind? I think I can handle this myself. Okay? You're making me feel boxed in. I have it handled. Okay? I need some space. I think I can unpackage my own box myself without your help." And Sid kind of smirks at her and says, "Right?" And she hears him all right. So he walks out and goes back into his office. So she's shaking her head, and she's starting taking things out. She's placing her little pictures on the desk and such. And then Sid pops back in again. And he goes, I was just wondering who that person was. I mean, it's not a big deal, She goes, "Well, listen, if you think you're going to get some sort of hookup, it'll never happen. I'm happily married. That is my husband, Brad. And believe me, he'd squish you like an ant in 3 minutes. So don't get any funny ideas. I'm here to work. I hate to be nasty, but you started this." Sid walks out of the room and goes back in his office. So she sits back down. She signs in with her username and password, and she's getting ready to do her job. And who pops her head in again? Sid. He goes, "You know what? You don't have to be so nasty to me, okay? I'm just trying to help you." And she goes, "Excuse me. Enough." And she gets up and she closes her office door. Not a good start when it comes to co-employees, right? So, about a half an hour later, she gets a knock on the door. She opens the door, and it's not Sid, it's Amy, the manager. She goes, "Well, I see that you signed in and such, and if you need any help with anything, you be sure to go ahead and contact me, and if you'd like, you can ask Sid there." Because she goes, no, I'll ask you. She goes, "Is there a problem?" She goes, "Well, let's just say things started out on the wrong foot." She goes, "No, it'll be fine. Sid's been here as long as I have, almost since the inception of this company. So if you need any help, you can go to Sid or you can come to me, whichever you feel comfortable with." Okay. So her first day, things go okay. 7 o'clock, Tuesday morning, because that's the time she has to be there. All the employees have to be there at 7 o'clock. They end their day at 3:30. So it's a pretty good schedule. She walks down the hall. "Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Becky. Good morning, Mark." And she figures she wants to kind of like mend the tide, if you will. She pops her head in Sid's office, and he's not there. So she goes back down. She gets herself a cup of coffee in the break room. And Amy comes in the break room as well to get her coffee. He says, "Where's Sid?" "Oh, Sid had to go to an expo in Orlando, Florida." "Oh, okay. And he won't be back until next week." Huh. Amy's feeling pretty good about that, because that guy's just a thorn in her side, just right out the gate, and things didn't start out so well. So the following week, Monday morning comes along, 7 o'clock. "Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Becky. Good morning, Mark." She walks down the hall, and Sid pops his head out and says, "Good morning, Carla." She said, "Good morning, Sid." She walks into her office, leaves her door open, and about 20 minutes later, Sid pops his head back in and says, "Hey, you know what? Last week, maybe I was a little bit boisterous and pushy, and I didn't mean to be rude, and I just wanted to let you know that I apologize, and I'm really sorry. Because, we all need to work together, and I don't want things to start out on a bad foot. So I apologize." And Carla gets to thinking, well, she goes, "Yeah, I was a little bit snappy too, and I apologize as well. And, it was my first day. I had a little pressure. I didn't know what to expect, and I apologize as well." So things look like they're going to work out, right? And about 15 minutes later, her door's open, see? And Sid's door's open. And she can hear Sid talking to someone on the phone. And I'm talking word for word of all the things that were said on her very first day. Right? About how, who's the fella in the top hat? Right? Well, that's her husband, Brad. And that she felt boxed in, right? She needed her space. And that maybe Brad would squish him like an ant in 3 minutes, right? I mean, word for word. And she can hear all this, right? Just on and off, right? A couple little phrases here and there. She's saying, well, who the hell is he talking to? And then later in the conversation, word for word, he's talking about how he apologized, then she apologized. She doesn't want to say to him, "Who the hell are you talking to?" because she doesn't want him to know that she's eavesdropping on what he's saying. Maybe he's talking to an old girlfriend. Maybe he's talking to Amy, the boss. She doesn't know, right? She just lets it go. So weeks go by and then months go by, and, Carla understands by now that he's probably harmless. He's probably just geeky and a little twerpy, but he's harmless, So they kind of warm up to each other, and sometimes she asks questions. Hey, what's the situation with this program and that program? And he comes in and he's kind of hovering over her, but polite and all, and kind of show her the ins and outs of the company. So before you know it, hell, they're going to lunch together, right? And then as weeks and months continue to go on, they're going out to the bar after work to have a couple of drinks. So things are working out pretty good because she knows that he knows that she's happily married and that they're just friends, platonic friends. That's it, right? So here it is about late June of 2017. And they decided they're going to go for a couple of drinks after work. And they're hoo-hoo and ha-ha and having a good old time, laughing, carrying on, right? And Sid says to her, "So, tell me about your husband, right? I've seen him, pick you up after work sometimes, and y'all go out and about, and I've seen him, pick you up for lunch and whatnot, and he doesn't really speak to me. He's kind of short in that with me and such." She goes, and she's had a couple of little drinks here, right? She goes, the funniest thing, he is a big guy. I mean, he is a big man. And you would think a big man that is so muscular and works out so much and is so in tune with physical health and all this stuff, you would think that he would eat like a monster. But he doesn't. He eats like a bird. So I have a little nickname for him. I call him Chirp. And Sid looks at her and says, "Chirp?" She goes, chirp, like bird, right? Because he's like a bird eater. And they're laughing and carrying on, right? But that's private and personal information. You shouldn't be telling somebody that's trying to get a hookup, right? So, of course, Sid retains this information. And the following day, 7 o'clock in the morning, she walks into the candle manufacturer. "Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Becky. Good morning, Mark." She goes down the hall, pops her head in. "Good morning, Sid." She sits down at her desk, starts to do her work. Sid pops his head in and says, "So, Did you have a good weekend? What did you and Chirp do? She goes, listen. If you could, you know, maybe I spoke a little bit too much. It's kind of private, personal. Just kind of keep that to yourself. He goes, well, of course. Come on, we're friends. 15 minutes later, he's back on the phone with who knows who. And he's talking about how the nickname that she gave for her husband is Chirp to somebody. She doesn't know who. And again, she can't go over there and confront him on why are you divulging our conversations with a third party, because she doesn't want him to know that she's eavesdropping on his conversation. But you see, she finally understands she cannot talk to this guy because he's telling somebody, you know, it's bad. It's bad news, right? So September 2017, first week of September, the CEO of the candle manufacturing company calls an emergency meeting. There's 200 employees at this candle manufacturer that is located in Vermont. But I tell you what, all of the employees, nobody quits because it's such a great company. They pay very well. They have excellent perks. They have excellent per diems. It's one of those kind of companies that you would do anything to work for, right? Because it just doesn't happen that often. So everybody goes into it's kind of like the warehouse division, but it's more like a almost conference room / you know, where they do all the distribution and such. Everybody's there. Packaging's there, advertising is there, accounting, administration, all the laborers are there, grounds crew. Everybody that works for that company is there. The CEO stands up. He said, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we're creeping up on fiscal year, and I'm sorry to say, but we need to lay off 20 people. And I'm really sorry about that, but in order to sustain a, you know, financial good standing, both nationally and internationally, we are going to have to lay off 20 people. And the whole crowd is like, oh, no, because people are worried now, right? So the CEO says, listen, I give you my word. I will not lay off anyone until the first week of January. No one has to worry about their pay. No one has to worry about the holidays. No one has to be stressed out, worrying about if they're going to have a job through the holidays. I give you my word. He goes, on a side note, this is the good news. For the people that will be laid off, if you will sign a contractual agreement with this candle manufacturing that you will not file unemployment insurance against the company in a 24-hour span after you sign that contract, our company will gift you $13,000, which will be tax-free. Because as all of you know, under the tax code of the United States of America, an individual can receive $13,000 gift, and it's totally tax-free. Oh, everybody's like, oh. So it's not so bad. He says, okay, this meeting is now adjourned. Everybody go back to your stations, whatever. So you got Becky and Mark and Sid and Amy and Carla, and they're all kind of talking amongst themselves going, man, I hope I get laid off, you know what I mean? Because it's not that bad now. You're getting a $13,000 severance pay, tax-free. I mean, who could complain, right? So they go on about their, you know, daily chores and that, dealing with that, or their jobs, right, dealing with that business. And about a half an hour later, Sid pops his head into Carla's office, and he goes, you know what, it really doesn't matter. Here it is, the first week of September, but what these guys don't know is I'm leaving anyway. I am leaving at around the end of October. She goes, well, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, I'm going to quit. I'm going to resign. So I'm going to sacrifice myself anyway, so now they only have to lay off 19. She's like, why? He goes, I'm starting my own company. Matter of fact, the closing on the warehouse is going to happen about mid-September, and before you know it, I'll be moved in, and we'll get going, because I've been with this company ever since it started. I know everything about it. I know the manufacturing side of it. I know the accounting, the financing. I know everything about it. And I'm going to end up being their competition. Hell, with any luck, they'll be laying off more. She goes, really? He goes, yeah. And then Carla starts thinking maybe she has a chance to work for him in case she's one of the people that's laid off, right? She goes, are you going to be hiring anybody? He goes, well, not at first. I'm going to have my brother come in from California, and he's going to run the books for me. Yeah, darndest thing. He used to be an anesthesiologist turned accountant. And to be quite honest, I think he's a better accountant than a doctor. She's like, oh, well, do you think you'll hire somebody, like, later? She's trying to nudge her way in, right? He goes, well, it's a possibility. I'm not really sure. I'm not really positive. She's like, oh, well, good luck, Good luck with that. I'll miss you. 20 minutes later, he's on the phone with somebody else. Word for word, talking about how she's going to miss him. And that he's going to start this business. And he's got the warehouse. It's like, darn this thing, she can't even talk to this guy. She might as well be including whoever he's talking to, right? So here comes October, right? And a little bit like mid-October, he put in his 2 weeks notice. Yep. And he pops his head into Carla's office, and he says, Carla, I just want to let you know I put in my 2 weeks notice. And I'm serious. Everything is closed. I closed on the warehouse a couple of weeks ago. And it's going to be a good time, and I'm no longer going to be here. That's just the facts. I'm not going to be here anymore. But you know what? It was nice working with you. I know we started out on a bad foot and all. But, it's been a pleasure. You're really good at what you do. And you're really a professional, and I deem you as a friend. And I hope it's mutual. She goes, and she's got to be careful what she says, because he's always motor mouthing to somebody. She doesn't even know who, right? She goes, well, yeah, I wish you luck, your last day, whatever day that's going to be, yeah, I wish you luck. He goes, matter of fact, today I need to go pick up my brother at the airport. He's flying in from California. And, yeah, he goes, I got to go pick him up and kind of like get him started on how things are going to go for this business, because he's going to help me out. She's like, okay, well, good luck. She doesn't know what to say, right? So here we come. It's Thursday, late October. Thursday. He pops his head in about 8 o'clock in the morning. He says, Carla, tomorrow's Friday, and tomorrow's my last day, which would be today. This Friday. In other words, today. In real life, our Friday. Right? He goes, as you know, tomorrow is Friday, and, I'm trying to plan everything and get everything situated and organized and that sort of thing, and, well, I could put an ad out there for movers and such, and I was just kind of wondering if maybe you and Brad would help me tomorrow, which would be Friday, his last day, move some furniture and such into his brand new offices. She goes, well, I don't know. I'll pay you $20 an hour. $20 an hour? $20 an hour each. $20 an hour for you and $20 an hour for Brad. What do you say? It'll probably only take about 6 hours. It might take 7 because there's a lot of furniture. I'm always up for extra money. That's what Carla says. Oh, yeah. She goes, I'm pretty sure Brad wouldn't mind either. And he's got a big old truck if you need help. He goes, no, I got that all figured out because I got a big old box truck and it's just crammed with furniture. But I need help. And I'd rather have people help me that I trust and that I know than rather just put out an ad out there and just get a bunch of people off the street. You know what I mean? She's like, well, I'll call my husband. I'll ask him. So later in the day, at about 11:30, 12 o'clock, she calls up Brad at home because he's a remote worker. See, so he calls me up. She says, "Hey, listen, remember I told you Sid's starting his own company and all that stuff? Well, tomorrow, which is Friday, he wants us to help him move in to his offices, and he was wondering if we would help him. He'd pay us $20 an hour each. What do you say, honey? We could always use the extra money." Brad's like, "Sure. Where's it at? Where's it located?" She goes, "Hold on, let me go check." She pops her head in his office and said, "Hey, Sid, I was curious to know, what's the address for the location in which we got to move the furniture to the warehouse?" He goes, "You know what, I could give you the address, but it's not going to help you because it's a brand new building on a brand new street, and it's not even on Google Maps. So maybe Brad could meet you at work. You could take his truck, and he could follow me in the box truck because you're not going to find it any other way." She goes, "Oh, okay." She gets back on the phone with Brad, and she goes, "Well, it's a brand new street. It's a brand new location. It's not on Google Maps. If you'll come to work and pick me up, we'll go in your truck and follow him in the box truck." He goes, "Yeah, sure." So she pops her head back into Sid's office, and she says, "It's a done deal. We'll do it." He goes, "Great. This is awesome. And you know what? Again, I appreciate you more than you could ever know." Friday morning pops around, 7 o'clock sharp. And I'll tell you what, Sid's always there before Carla is. Carla walks in. "Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Becky. Good morning, Mark." Pops her head, and he's sitting right there. He's always there before she is. "Morning, Sid." He goes, "Yep, this is my last day." He goes, "Oh, and by the way, Carla, at 2:30, I need to leave here. I need to go pick up the box truck. But I will be here at 3:30 sharp. And you know I will because I'm always on time." She's like, "Oh, I know. So they go ahead and work throughout the day, and most people, when it's their last day, they putz around and say, "Oh no, he's hard at work. He's hard at work. He's doing his thing, right?" So around 2 o'clock, Sid is going down the hall, and he's saying his goodbyes to Becky and Mark and Amy, and just tooling around the premises of the candle manufacturer that he's been working at since it even opened, saying his goodbyes and such. So about 2:30, he leaves to go pick up the box truck with all the furniture in it because he's got to go take that to the warehouse and unload it with Brad and Carla. So he pops his head in, and it's not quite 2:30, and he says, "Carla, I'm going to go pick up that box truck, and, I'll be here by 3:30. You bet on that, okay? Because I got to get this thing done. Again, I believe it'll take 6, maybe 7 hours, so it might be a late night." She goes, No, that's fine. We agreed to do it, and we need that money, right?" So he leaves, and he goes and picks up that box truck, and Carla puts a call into Brad, her husband, the big old muscular guy, right? And he says, "Honey, okay, he went to go pick up the box truck. Can you come pick me up?" He says, "Oh, I'm on my way." So she's just kind of like wrapping up her day and such, and she looks out the window, and here comes, and I tell you what, Brad's not only a big guy, he's got a big truck. He has a six-pack truck, right? Big old truck, diesel, blah, 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 blah. When he drives up, you can hear him, right? So she notices that Sid also drives up about the same time. I mean, it's like 3:30 on the button. And Brad is honking the horn. She just races down the door to go greet with him, right? And she goes, "Okay, well, he's like, come on, get in the truck, come on, right now. She goes, "But I gotta get it up." "No, just come on, let's get this over with. We'll get it later. Leave your car here, we'll get it later." She gets up in the truck and Sid walks up to the window, and Brad undoes the window there, and he says, "Listen, yeah, it's a brand new look." He goes, yeah, I know. Carla already told me I need to follow you and all that stuff, right? So he goes, "Okay, I'm not going to be hard to find," and Sid gives Brad his telephone number on a piece of paper. and said, if you get lost, maybe we go through a stop sign, a stoplight, and all that. You know how it works when you're trying to follow somebody. He goes, here's my number in case you get lost. It's good. So they start out, and Carla starts not screaming, but raising her voice at Brad. Said, I forgot my cell phone. He goes, we'll get it later. Let's just go. He goes, baby, don't worry about it. I got my Bluetooth. Okay. So they start driving along, and you know what? It's one of these kind of crazy places where it's like left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 right, U-turn, right, 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 left, left, left. I mean, they never would have found this place ever in a million years. Oh my God. And they start driving, and they see this field, and Bud, we're talking a warehouse, and it's huge. It's a monster in the middle of this field, and the closest house is probably 1.5 miles away. It's just surrounded by field and field and field and field, and off to the left-hand side is a little bitty airport. You know, it takes in like Pipers and Learjets, that sort of thing. Not international flights, but it's an airport by itself, helicopters, that sort of stuff, right? And Brad is looking at Carla. He goes, damn, this is in the middle of nowhere. She's like, yeah. So they drive up, and they go into the parking section there. And Brad rolls down to his window and gets out of the box truck, and he goes up to the window. And Brad says, so don't you have like a loading dock? He goes, well, the loading dock is on the other side of the building, but because it's so high, it's not going to help us. It would be worse. So what we'll do is we're going to have to bring all the furniture in the front door, and they're double doors that they can prop open. So that's good, right? And there's no steps or anything. Just right in. So before they start moving furniture into his warehouse, right? They bring them inside, and he kind of shows them around, because you got the warehouse here, and then off adjacent from the warehouse you have all of the offices, or the office space, right? So they walk in. He's like, well, this is the entryway, obviously. It's like receptionist area. This is the conference room. This is office number 1. This is the break room, and in the break room there's only a refrigerator. There's a sink, but it's totally empty, right? He goes over here is office number 2. We got office number 3. This is the sundry room for all the mops, janitorial type stuff. This is where all the heating, electrical, alarm systems, telecommunications equipment. He just keeps going down. He goes, this is office number 4. It's huge. I mean, this place is big. So Brad's starting to think, man, this is going to take longer than 6 or 7 hours, right? And he's a big old boy, right? But just because you're a big, strong, muscular dude doesn't mean you're a good worker, okay? We know that, right? But hey, whatever. At least he's going to be able to physically handle really heavy things like art and vases and coffee table, couches, all that stuff, right? So Sid, are you guys ready? They get there about a little bit after 4. So it takes them a good half an hour to get there. So Sid said, let's get this party rocking. So Sid opens the back of the truck, right? They start grabbing things, and Carla, she's not that big of a woman, so what Carla does is she grabs things like artwork and vases and pens and copy, you know, the little copy machines and such, and coffee makers and glassware and dishes and stuff like that, right? Then, of course, you got Sid and Brad. They're lifting the big old catches, and Sid's really good, man. He knows where everything's going to go. He's like, okay, let's put this here. They go back and get some chairs, and they get coffee tables. They get these big old desks, man. They get executive chairs. They got rollers. I mean, look, bud, he's got everything. This goes on for hours and hours and hours and hours. Huh. Oh, my gosh. So here it is, 9:15 sharp. They get everything in, everything is in place, and it looks great. It looks like this office has been there for years. They got all the artwork hung and the vases in place, and the you know, the fake flowers and such in the vases. They got the coffee tables, the couches, the chairs, the copy machines. They got the coffee. I mean, it looks great. So they have the really nice couch there. And you have Carla and Brad, they just plump down on the couch because they're tired. Brad puts his arm around her, right? Baby, good job, right? And Sid sits down in an executive chair, but it has wheels on it. It kind of swivels around, swivel chair. Kind of like Monty has right now, right? And Sid reaches back behind him into this box, and he pulls up a bottle of wine that has a corkscrew taped to it. Right? I mean, this guy thinks of everything, doesn't he? And he hands the bottle of wine with a corkscrew that is taped to the bottle of wine. He hands it to Brad and says, "Can you open this? Because this calls for a celebration." And Brad says, "Now you're talking." He starts taking the tape off, and Sid, he reaches back again. He grabs 3 wine glasses. Not paper cups, not plastic cups, but 3 wine glasses. And he lays them out on the coffee table, right? So here you got Brad. He gets a course drink, pulls out the cork, hands the bottle to Sid. Sid grabs the bottle, and he starts pouring the wine in the 3 glasses, where they're about equal. And then he's like, "Before we do our toast, I did want to tell you that Brad, Carla, you did such a great job today. I mean, fantastic. Here's $200 each." They're counting this money. They're like, "Woohoo!" Brad goes, "Now you're talking. You're not such a bad guy after all." He goes, "Well, of course not. I'm the nicest guy I know." He goes, "Oh, wait a minute before we do our cheers. What's cheers without cheese and crackers? I already have it set up in the refrigerator. I'll be right back." So Sid grabs his glass of wine and he walks over to the break room there on the right-hand side of the office area with that refrigerator in it. Takes his glass of wine and pours it down the sink. Sure does. He opens the refrigerator door on the first shelf. There's a platter there with 4 different types of cheeses. Cauliflower, a couple of sticks of celery, right? Carrots and such, these little finger carrots and such. Ranch dressing. He takes a tray out of the top shelf there. He lays it on the counter where the sink is. Reaches down on the bottom shelf in the refrigerator, moves the soda pop out of the way, and grabs another glass of wine, same exact color, filled about halfway, pulls that out, closes the refrigerator door, grabs the tray of the crackers and cheese and such, and walks down the hall, sets the platter of cheese and such on the coffee table, and says, "You know what? Now it's time for a cheers. We got great food and snacks. We got our wine. You got your money." He stands up, and they all stand up together. He says, "To great friends and to new endeavors." They all clink their glasses and take sips. They start mowing down on the 4 cheeses and little snacks and such, right? Drinking their wine, hoo-hooing and ha-haing, laughing and carrying on. I tell you what, Brad couldn't even believe that he got $200 for, 5 hours worth of work or less? What a deal. Carla was damn happy about that too, and they're all giggling and laughing, carrying on, and he started asking him, "So, what are you going to do exactly? Are you going to have employees?" Just rehashing that sort of thing. So here it is, about 10:30 at night, right? They're sipping on these wine and such, and, you got Sid there just happy to keep refilling their glasses. So here it is, about creeping on 11 o'clock. It's damn near 11 o'clock. And Carla gets up because Carla's on her cycle, okay? It's a lady thing. And she's got to go to the bathroom. So she sets her wine glass down and she starts to get up. She's like, "Ooh, I shouldn't have, I really don't drink that much, but when I do, I get a little woozy." And of course, Brad, he's kind of like holding her. He's like, "Baby, are you okay?" She, oh yeah, I'm okay. And she goes to get up again, and she starts seeing double vision. She starts seeing these little black dots like she's gonna pass out. She looks over to Brad, and he's out. This dude's gone. And she goes to reach out for him, and she just collapses right there Right there on the couch, man. Both of these people are knocked out. But what about Sid? He's still sipping on his wine. Well, of course. A couple of hours go by. Now it's early Saturday morning. A little after midnight, right? Maybe 12:30, maybe even closer to 1 o'clock. And Carla, she's kind of coming to. She's starting to come to, and she sees this blur. Her vision's just so blurry, and it's almost pitch dark. But there's a little light behind her. She can just see, just barely see her surroundings, but her vision is so blurry. She's trying to wake up. She kind of like comes to, and she goes to get up off the couch. But she can't get up off the couch. Well, why not? Because she's in a box. She looks down and she can't get up. She's folded up in a box, and she barely has any room to move her hands or her entire body. There's very little wiggle room, if you get my meaning. And she starts to panic, man. She's like, oh, this is not good. Oh, no. She starts calling out for her husband, Brad. And he's coming to, too. He's starting to wake up as well. And he's seeing this double vision, and his vision's really blurry. Brad, she's scared. Brad! He's in a box, too, right next to her, about 7 feet away. But you see, the boxes are not facing like this. The boxes are catty corner. Carla's on the left, and Brad is on the right. Carla is facing this way in the box, and Brad is facing this way in the box. Carla's like, she starts getting a little crying, little tears coming down. She's getting worried because she knows that this is a bad situation, and chances are it's going to get worse, right? So, about 2 or 3 minutes later, after they both are awake and coherent, they start hearing a man's footsteps. You know, like dressed shoes on a concrete floor, walking behind them. But because they can't turn all the way to see what they're looking at, and plus it's dark as hell, this man keeps walking, and walks right in between the boxes, right dead center. And right in front of them, but this way, because they're catty corner, sits an executive chair with wheels on it. And this man sits down. They can tell that it's a man, but they don't know who it is. And he takes this remote control gizmo in his hand, right? He starts clicking on it. Click, 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 click. All the lights come up in the warehouse. Now they can see. And who's sitting in that chair? Sid. Well, of course. Of course. How you doing, you lovebirds? Did you enjoy your little nap? Boy, I tell you what, you guys really worked hard. Carla and Chirp. And you see, Chirp, that's personal information. Brad looks at Carla like, what's going on here? Carla just kind of puts her head down and shakes her head. She's starting to get teary-eyed. And Sid says to him, you know, we are going to have so much fun. And seeing that it's early in the wee hours of Saturday morning, you just wait until Halloween. Because I tell you what, that is going to be a climactic event. And you know what? With any luck, we're going to live stream it. It's going to be fantastic. You guys are going to be international superstars. But until then, we need to kind of like prep you for your big day. Oh boy, Brad's starting to think, oh man, this is bad. This bad news. But he's thinking, Halloween's not for several days away, so does that mean they're going to be in these boxes for days? Yes, that's exactly what it means. And Carla goes, I have to go to the bathroom. And Sid is sitting in that chair and he's swiveling back and forth. And he whizzes his chair and rolls it right about to both of the boxes, about dead center. And he looks over to Carla and he says, then go. And she starts crying now, boy. She starts crying. And she starts screaming her head off, help me, help me. And she's moving her hands inside the box and her fingernails are breaking and they're starting to bleed. Oh, it's just horrible. And she's screaming at the top of her lungs. And Sid gets right in her face and starts screaming as well. Ah! Ah! Right in her face. Scream as much as you want. No one's going to hear you. No one's going to hear you. Scream, scream, get it out of your system. And Brad over there, he's a big dude, man. He is trying to use his upper strength to break out of that box. He's trying to use his big legs to try to break his way out of the box. He can't do it. Because this box is not nailed down, it's screwed down. And it's brand new wood. These people are not getting out of these boxes. Nope. And only their heads are exposed. This is not a good time. So Sid is sitting there talking to them, saying, I really appreciate you guys helping me. But you know what? I've been planning this for weeks. And you guys just walked right in and helped yourself into helping me. And now it's time for me to help you. And Halloween's just, I don't know, 3 or 4 days away. It's going to be wonderful. We are going to have the time of our lives together as one big happy family. And Carla looks at Sid and goes, why are you doing this to us? And he goes, you know, do you remember the first thing that you said to me, Carla? The very first day I worked, do you remember what you said to me? She goes, no. You said that you felt boxed in. You needed your space. You know, Carla, you should be really careful what you say to others. Because sometimes what you say to others, they take literally. And sometimes they take what you say and turn it into literal reality. Carla, she's crying. Oh my God, again. And she just, oh man, she's upset. So Sid looks at Carla, looks at Brad and said, listen, Chirp. And listen, Carla, let me tell you something right now. We're going to have a midnight snack. I know it's after midnight, but we're going to have a midnight snack, and you're going to eat your midnight snack. You sure are. But before we have our midnight snack, I'm going to give you an education about your midnight snack. I'll be right back. He walks directly between the boxes. He walks to the back of the warehouse. He opens a door. He closes that door. You hear some rummaging around a little bit. He opens the door, closes the door, and comes out, and you hear it. It's really strange, like almost like steel scraping against something, right? It's really weird. And what's he doing? He has one of these warehouse carts. He's wheeling the cart out, right? But what's on the cart? Well, there's 2 plates. There's 2 bananas. There's 2 bottles of tea, iced tea, and 2 straws. He wheels this little cart right in between Carla and Brad. And he says, now listen, this is your midnight snack. Look over and they see that they're bananas, right? Got some tea there with 2 straws. He goes, now I'm going to give you an education before you have your midnight snack. He walks around the box on Brad's side. He sits back in the chair. And he has the chair where he's facing both of them, about dead center in front of the car, right? He says, now let me give you a little education about your midnight snack. And Carla, when I leave tonight, because I am leaving, and you're staying here, and I know it's a little bit chilly in here, but I promise, I give you my word, before I go, I'll raise up the heat just a little bit, because we don't want you guys getting hypothermia. Oh no. We got to prepare you for Halloween. And Carla, she's still crying. She's looking over at her. Brad, I'm so sorry. And he's like, silence. It's time for your education of your midnight snack. He goes, you know, Chirp and Carla, let me tell you something about the jungle. You see, in the jungle, there are no rules, there are no regulations, there are no laws. None. Absolutely zero. And in the jungle, in most cases, you have these things called monkeys. And monkeys swing from branch to branch and tree to tree, and they roll around forwards and backwards, and they play, and they're just goofing around, right? But what allows these monkeys to act that way and do these things and swing around and tumble and forwards and backwards and sideways and all that? What allows them to do that there, Carla and Chirp? Well, I'll tell you. It's a thing called potassium. And what's in the jungle as well? Well, there's these things called bananas. And bananas have this thing called potassium in them. And even though you have potassium in the concrete jungle and Gatorade, that's the wrong kind of potassium. Because when the potassium is in liquid form, it goes through the body very quickly, either through urination or sweat. And it's not distributed throughout the body equally like it is through food, which is the banana. And it's really good for your joints. It allows you to move your elbows, right? And your fingers and your knees and your neck. You have such agility. You have a little bit of buoyancy. And you don't get cramped up. They're kind of quiet. But you see, Brad, dude, this guy he's a big old boy, right? And he's health conscious, and he knows every word that came out of Sid's mouth is absolute fact. So he's going to eat his bananas, because Brad knows in order to have a mental, let's say, in order to be mentally, psychologically, emotionally stable, you have to maintain your food intake. It's imperative. He also knows that potassium does exactly that. It keeps you from cramping up, getting cramps. And when you're in a box like this, and you can barely move, you're going to be cramping up probably pretty quickly. Right? So before he starts feeding the bananas to both Carla and Chirp, or Brad rather, he goes over, he opens up the tea bottle, he places a straw in the tea bottle. He says, now Carla, stop your crying. It's hard to eat, it's hard to drink when you're crying. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a sip of this tea. Because for proper digestion, it's best that you have a little something to drink first before you eat. Okay? I really care about you. I need to keep you guys alive until Halloween. She's crying. She's trying to drink. God love her. She's trying to drink, but she's losing it, man. You know what I mean? Her fingers are hurting because the nails broke. Oh, right? So he peels the banana. He starts feeding it to her. Baby, he's like, Carla, how do you expect to eat when you're sitting there bumbling your gums at your husband? Don't you see he's busy? Okay? He feels boxed in too. Okay? Just eat your damn bananas. So Carla does eat both of her bananas. She drinks all of her tea. He goes over to Brad. He goes, okay, Chirp, no eating like a bird. You know how important it is to eat your bananas. So he unscrews the iced tea bottle. He puts in the straw first, places a straw in Brad's mouth, and Brad he's eager to drink his tea. Oh, absolutely. And he eats his bananas too. And he's thinking to himself, man, when I get out of this box, I'm gonna show you what chirping's all about. Oh, he's furious, right? So then, Sid gets up. He says, you know what? As much as I'd... Oh, look at the time. Oh, it's creeping up on 3 o'clock. He goes, I gotta go. Because, you know what? In a couple of hours, I need to be right back here. I need to give you your breakfast. And you know what? The activities are going to begin. Oh yeah, this is going to be so much fun. But anyway, I'll talk to you later, guys. And he leaves. And they hear him open the door and close the door, get in his car, and drive off. Right? I tell you what, Carla is out of her mind. She's like, oh baby, I'm so sorry. I mean, this is all... He's like, Brad is saying to his wife, he turns to his wife and says, baby, listen. It's a horrible situation. It's terrible. And I know it's terrible. But somebody is going to come and save us. The authorities will find out that we're missing. And they are going to find us. He goes, listen, it's obvious this nutbag, this twerp, this freak show wants to keep us alive until Halloween. We have a chance. He goes, baby, it's going to be okay. He goes, I know that it seems like it's not going to be okay. But every time he wants to give you something to drink, drink it. Every time he wants to give you something to eat, eat it. He goes, baby, it's so important that you're mentally sound. You got to make it, baby. You got to make it, and we can make it together. We can make it together. No, but I just... And she's... Oh, man, she's upset. Of course she's upset, right? So these two people are exhausted by now, right? They worked 7 hours. They were knocked out for several hours, and then, you know, an hour or so later, this weirdo's talking to them and trying to flip them out with like educations on the jungle, concrete jungle, bananas, potassium, tea, and all this stuff. They're tired, so they just kind of put their heads down and go to sleep. 7 o'clock in the morning, sharp, on the nose, on the button. Who comes walking in the door? Oh, it's Sid. Honey, I'm home. He comes waltzing in. He sits down in that executive rollaway chair, right? He goes, good morning, you two lovebirds. How are you doing? Listen, we have really good activities for you today. It's going to be so much fun. But you know what? Before we do that, it's time for breakfast. Right? So he takes the cart and he wheels it back in the back room there, the back side of the warehouse. He opens the door, he closes the door, and these people, they can hear, Carla and Brad, they can hear him doing dishes, you know, from the plates from the night before. He was rustling around for about 20 minutes, half an hour maybe. He comes back out. He's wheeling out this tray, right? This warehouse cart. What's on the cart this time? Well, on the cart this time is 2 plates. And on the plates is eggs, bacon, grits, English muffin with Land O'Lakes butter. That's the only butter in the world anyway, right? On both of the plates, 2 bottles of tea, 2 straws, 1 fork. Right? So he wheels this out. He puts the cart right in between them. He goes, you know what? It's time for breakfast. And as usual, ladies first. So he opens up the tea bottle, he puts in the straw there, he folds it over, and she's getting kind of upset, but she remembers what her husband told her. Her husband told her, no matter how upset you are, make sure you drink everything you drink. If he offers it, make sure you eat everything that he offers. You have to do it to keep sound, to keep right. She's trying her best, right? And he mixes up all this stuff, and Brad's looking over at what they have for breakfast. And Brad also knows that the meat there, that the eggs are 100% protein. He needs this to keep his mental stability as well, right? He's mixing up the grits and the eggs and all this stuff, right? Feeding it to her. She eats all of her food, which is awesome. He goes over to Chert, or Brad rather, right? Opens up the tea bottle, puts in the straw. Brad's welcoming it. Right? He's taking big bites, right? Big old man. He's not eating like a bird because he knows he needs this, right? He's got to stay alive, and he's got to keep his wife alive. That's important, because if one of these people, if they don't make it. The other one's in grave danger, immediate grave danger, right? And they know that they have until Halloween. So they both eat their breakfast, right? Sid takes the cart, he wheels it back to the back of the warehouse, opens the door, closes the door, leaves the cart there, walks around the front, comes out that part of the warehouse, sits down in his chair, and he's kind of close to him. You know, they're about this far apart. And he's kind of like doing his chair like this. He goes, guys, have we got a special arrangement for both of you today? We do. Hey, listen, guys, when was the last time you went fishing? Because Saturdays, I mean, think about it. How many people go fishing on Saturdays? Probably millions. And we should be no different because we're a big old happy family. Now listen, I know you guys ain't got no kids. And here we go. Brad's looking over at Carla like he knows he told him all this stuff, right? So he's not real happy about that, right? He goes, and nobody's going to come for you because nobody's going to miss you. But I would miss you. Like when I left here last night, I kind of missed you for those hours I was gone. That's why I'm here now. And we are going to go fishing together. But first, I need to go to the store. Now listen, hope you don't mind the $200 that I gave each of you the other night. Well, I'm going to take that money and I need to go buy some supplies. Okay, I'll be right back. Give me an hour or so, right? Pew! He's out the door. Well, he's gone a little bit more than an hour. Hell, he didn't come back until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's Saturday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? He opens it. Hi, honey, I'm home. And what's he doing? He's whistling the Andy Griffith Show. And he's got a fishing pole and a big old tackle box. I mean, this thing's huge, right? He walks in and he sets the fishing pole down. He sets down the tackle box, right? He goes, guys, we are going to have such a blast. It's going to be great. He goes, you know what? I don't know how I spaced this out, but I kind of forgot. I'll be right back. He goes to the end of the warehouse, opens the door, he closes the door. You hear some washing going on and such, right? Doing the dishes from the breakfast. He's got that cart, he's wheeling the cart down. But what's on the cart this time? 1 plate, 1 paintbrush, and 1 bottle of syrup. Oh, man, they don't know what to expect. He puts this little cart there. And he goes, guys, I don't know how I forgot this, okay? But you guys like syrup? I know you do. I mean, you just get that sweet smell about and all that, right? So he takes the syrup and he squeezes it on the plate there. He takes that paintbrush and he puts it in the syrup just really lightly, really thinly. And he starts putting it on Carla's face and her forehead, and her chin, and her neck, and right? But at least it's sweet smelling, right? And then he does the same thing to Brad. He goes, okay, we're all done. He takes the cart, he opens the back of the warehouse, opens the door, he closes the door, then he walks out around and comes out the front area, right? And he starts whistling the Andy Griffith Show again. And he opens up the box there, the tackle box, and he grabs this big jar. And this jar is full of thousands of flies. I mean, they're just crawling up the sides. And I mean, the whole jar is full of so many flies you can't see any space in between. That's how many flies are in here, right? And Sid kind of walks over to him and he says, what is fishing without flies? And he opens it up and zoom, all these thousands of flies. And where are they going? They're going to go all over their faces, right? They're going to be crawling inside the box. It's going to be nasty, right? He goes back to the tackle box there and he grabs a tape measure. And he takes his tape measure and he places it inside the box, in between the box and the neck of Carla, and he puts it in there. And he brings it across and he measures to the space that is located on Brad's box between his neck and the box. And it's about 7 feet exactly. Right? Then he goes back to his head, and he grabs out a hook. This hook is huge. It's like deep sea fishing hook. This thing's a monster, man. Not a treble hook, but a single hook. And it's huge, right? And he's tying that. He's tying a knot with it. He goes, guys, don't worry about this. This is 20-pound test. It's not going to break. Okay? Totally, it's not. Then he hooks that big old hook on the handle of the tackle box, and he also takes a tape measure with it and strings it down 7 feet 3 inches exactly. Then he ties on another huge hook on the other side. When he gets done, he drapes over the 20-pound test with the 2 hooks on it around his neck. He gets in the chair and he whizzes over to both of them. He goes, guys, we're going to go fishing. So let me tell you what's going to happen. You see these hooks? Each one of these hooks, one hook is going to go in your lip, Carla, and the other hook is going to go in your lip. This is going to be so much fun. And here's the thing, seeing that your distances between your necks inside the boxes is 7 feet, because I'm such a kind person, I decided to make the fishing line 7 foot 3 inches. So it'll give you about 1.5 inches play on each side. So if you move your head more than 1.5 inches, you're going to yank on your wife's lip. And you're going to yank on your own. Or vice versa. Isn't that special? We got to work as a team, guys. He goes, now, and Carla's eyes, her eyes getting about this big. She's getting bloodshot. She's gone from being freaked out to terrified, right? Sid looks at her and says, you know something? Now, I get the sneaky suspicion you're not going to cooperate, so I like to come prepared, all right? I'll be right back. He goes to the back of the warehouse, he opens the door, he closes the door, and you hear, he's drilling, right? And Brad's trying to count how many holes he's drilling. He drilled 8 holes. And he comes back out, and he's got these L slats made of plexiglass that are 1 inch thick, with holes drilled in them. He takes an L slat, he puts it on the side of her face, and he drills it down to the bottom. Takes another one, puts it on the side of her face, drills that down, takes another one, puts it in the back. Then he takes another one that's 1/3 of the way, and it's just resting against her chin, and he drills that down. So now Carla cannot move her head this way or this way. Nope. Cannot be done. And of course, she's at an angle, right? So Sid said, now Carla, it's going to be all right. I'm sure you've had your ears pierced or maybe something else pierced. It's not going to be that bad. Grabs her lip, and she is out of her mind. And of course, Brad's watching this, knowing what's coming for him, but that's his wife, so he's really furious. He's trying to lift himself up out of that box. He's trying to break. He's doing everything to get out of that box, but he can't get out of that box, see? So then Sid turns around, he unscrews all the L slats, and he puts them around Brad's head. One here, screws it down, this one, and the one that is on his chin. He goes, now Chirp, listen, this is going to hurt, because I'm going to put this in the bottom part of your beak, and it might be a little bit, and grabs his lip, and he's just out of his mind. So here they are, they're trying to keep their composure. And then he, of course, undoes all the L slats, so they have movement of their heads. If they turn either direction more than 1.5 inches, oh boy, it's going to mean pain for their spouse. They're not going to do it, right? Oh, it's just horrible, right? And they're salivating and bleeding profusely on the inside and the outside of their lip. Oh, it's horrible. So he goes, guys, you know what? Hey, listen, it's time for me to go fishing. I mean, it's not fair for both you guys to go fishing, me not to go fishing. So he walks back to his chair, right? And he zings over, and he goes back to the tackle box and such. And he grabs out a little hook, a little tiny one. And on the fishing pole is 3-pound test, which means that's going to break if too much pressure is applied, right? He goes, guys, don't worry about this. This is 3-pound test, so it will break. right? With enough pressure and all. And he's tying a little hook on there, right? And then he turns around and he lights up the cigarette. So here he is. He goes, guys, this is going to be so much fun. He's whistling away and he's got his cigarette there. And he takes the fishing line and he takes a whole bunch off the reel, right? So that way it's really loose. It's not tight at all. He grabs the hook with a 3-pound test and he walks right directly dead center of where the 20-pound test is, and he hooks it right on top of it. He walks back to his chair, kind of puts at an angle there. You start tick, 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 tick. These people know what's coming. Ha! They sure do. Because as soon as any pressure is applied, that little hook is going to grab that 20-pound test and pull directly ahead, right? This is not a happy time. Both of their eyes are huge. They're terrified, right? Tick, 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 tick. Hey, chirp, how you love birds doing? You know what? It is my turn to go fishing, guys. It really is. And it gets tighter and tighter, and it's kind of drooped up on the floor there. And he goes, and the damn fishing pole starts bending down. They're screaming. They're going out of their minds. And before he does that, just seconds later, he touches the 3-pound test with the coal of the cigarette and cuts it, right? Then he wheels over to Carla and he grabs that line and he hits it with the coal and it breaks it. Goes over to Brad, does the same thing. So here they still have these hooks in their mouths and there's a little tassel. There's about this long of fishing 20-pound test still hanging out of their mouths, right? Oh, man. Oh, it's horrible. So, hell, by now, it's getting early evening on Saturday, days before Halloween. And he goes, guys, you guys are going to love me. I prepared such a wonderful supper for you because it's about supper time. Okay? And you know what? I got a date tonight, so I might have to leave just a little bit early, but I'll be back in the morning, 7 o'clock sharp. You can always count on me. I'll be on time. Ask Carla, she'll tell you. Carla, both of them are still in agony. They're hitting the lip because it hurts so badly, right? He goes, guys, I'll be right back, right? So he takes the cart and all this stuff, and he goes back in the back and opens the door. He closes the door, and you hear a bunch of rustling around going on. He was there for about 15 minutes this time. He starts scooting out the tray. What's on the tray this time? There's 2 plates. Corned beef hash, sauerkraut, asparagus, and garlic toast with Land O'Lakes butter, of course, on each plate. 2 bottles of tea and 2 straws, 1 fork. He's got a wedge of lemon on each plate, all right? And salt. So he goes over to Carla and he says, ladies first. So he said, Carla, listen, try your best to have something to drink. You need to, you need to resupply your liquids because you're drooling everywhere. So come on. She's drinking that tea. She's trying to get it together, man, because she knows she's got to eat, right? You know, Brad, he's eyeballing corned beef hash. Okay, you got the corned beef hash. You got, you got the bread there, carbohydrates, right? You got the asparagus, that's vitamin B. And he's trying to figure it all out. He knows, wow, this is a good meal. I need to eat every bit of it, even though he's a bird eater, right? So Carla, he's feeding Carla and doing her thing, right? Everything's good. She eats most of hers, not all of it, because it's a big meal, right? He goes over to Brad, he opens up the tea bottle, puts in that straw. He's drinking because he knows he has to, right? He starts eating he ate all of his food. All of his food. And even though Sid had put salt and lemon in the food, that kind of pain doesn't even count to what they encountered. No way, no how, right? But Brad ate all of it and drank all of his tea. Carla drank all of her tea and ate most of her meal. But it was a big meal, right? So he takes the cart, he takes it back to the back of the warehouse, opens the door, closes the door, so the car's already back there, right? He's doing some dishes and such. Comes back out and he says, guys, listen, I got a date tonight. And, you know, I'm going to go to the club with my date, and there's going to be a lot of music and dancing going on, that sort of thing. And I wanted to let you guys know, just so you're kind of prepared for it. Well, you know, there wasn't anything in the food, but the tea, it wasn't all tea. It was half and half. So what it was half tea and half laxative. I hope you don't mind. Because I felt, you know, it would be wrong of me to go out with my date to a club and listen to music and you guys not be able to make some music of your own. Anyway, I gotta go. Bye. And pew, he takes off. And sure enough, about a half an hour later, their stomachs start knotting up, and you can do the math. I'm sure you can. Right? Yeah. But Brad is trying to tell his wife, baby, listen, we're gonna make it. We're gonna be rescued. We're gonna be found. The authorities are gonna find us, baby. You gotta be strong. You gotta eat all your food. She's like, I know I do, but I'm trying. I gotta get me. And she started screaming. She's scratching it. You know what she can scratch, because her nails have been all broken off, and it's so painful. And she's trying to get the hell out of that box. You know, Brad over there, he's starting to get crampy, because he's all muscle, see? And they haven't had any more potassium. It's been well over 24 hours, right? He's starting to get worried. He is starting to get worried. But he's trying to reassure his wife. You got to be strong. We're going to make this. We're going to make it together. Come on, baby. You can do it. I know you can do it. I'm so sorry, Brad. I'm so sorry. He goes, don't worry about any of it. What's important is that we survive. We can make it, baby. We can make it. I promise we'll make it. He goes, just think, baby. You were never late. You never called in sick. Monday morning, when they go there, when your manager, Amy, whatever her name is, when they go there, they're going to find your car there, and they're going to find you not there. They're going to also see that your phone's there, right? And they're going to call the authorities. And then the authorities are going to go to my house, which is our house, thinking that I'm responsible for you missing, which I'm not, because I'm here with you. And then they're going to find us. She's like, I'm trying. She's hitting her tongue with her lip because these hooks are still in there, right? So they get about exhausted because they know come Sunday morning, he's going to be there bright and early, buddy. They know it, right? So they finally get some sleep. 7 o'clock. Hi, honey, I'm home. Sid walks in. He goes, guys, you guys are going to love me. I got a wonderful breakfast for us, right? We're going to eat as one big happy family. How was your night? Oh, it smells like you made some wonderful music in here. I mean, it's like an orchestra. Whew. Carla, really? Hygiene is everything. Goes back in the back of the warehouse, right? You start hearing some rustling around and such. But what's on the cart this time? Oh, he's got 2 plates. He's got 2 eggs. He's got ham. He's got English muffin with Land O'Lakes butter, of course, right? He's got 2 straws, 2 bottles of iced tea, 1 fork. So he's wheeling this cart down. He gets about in between them. Opens up the tea bottle, puts in the straw, holds it over. Carla, good morning. I missed y'all. Carla, really, hygiene is everything, okay? Come on now. She starts crying. He goes, Carla, you've been crying the whole time. I mean, get it together. You're an adult already. Come on. I mean, it's not even Halloween yet. You're getting upset. She's trying her best. He's like getting the eggs there and the ham. He's feeding it to her, and Brad's looking over. He's like, okay, meat is protein, eggs is protein. We got the carbohydrates, got the tea. Okay, this is a good time. He's inspecting all this stuff, right? Because he knows how important all this is. Carla eats all of her breakfast. Awesome, right? So Brad knows he's having a little bit of influence on his wife. And that's great. Maybe she has a little hope that they're going to be rescued. And they are going to be rescued. They are. They are. Brad knows they are. So he goes over to Brad and he opens up the tea bottle, puts a straw in there, and Brad's happy to have that tea, boy. He is happy. He's happy to eat his eggs and ham and his English muffin with Land O'Lakes butter, of course. So they eat all the breakfast. Sid takes a cart and he takes a bag. You can hear him doing dishes and stuff. Walks around the front of the warehouse, comes out in the main warehouse. He says, guys, listen, we have such a wonderful day planned for you. Because today is Sunday. Only a couple more days till Halloween. He goes, but you know what? First I need to do some shopping. I'll be right back. Okay? So here's about 9:30-ish in that area, right? Pew! He takes off. Well, he gets back before 12 this time. He's got 2 bags, shopping bags, right? He goes, guys, this is phenomenal. You're going to love this. He goes, because we have such a big day coming up for Halloween, he reaches down in a bag and he gets this black box. And it is truly about this big. It's like a jewelry box. Pretty good size. It's about this tall. It's about maybe this wide, right? It's big, right? I mean, you got to hold it with 2 hands. He sits down in a chair and he wings over to both of them. He goes, do you know what this is? And he starts shaking it. And it sounds like race in a box. He goes, oh, this is the biggest surprise. He wheels back, he goes to the bag there, and he pulls out a top hat, right? He walks over to Brad and he puts this top hat right on his head. He goes, there you go, Chirp. Does this seem familiar? Brad's like, no. You know, he doesn't know what that's about. So he goes back to the bags, right? He pulls out a couple of thumbtacks. He's got them, right? A little clear plastic container. He goes, guys, you know what? You guys need to get closer. Because you're a unit. You need to get closer. So let's get you closer, okay? He goes over to Carla's box and he kind of turns it, right? Lines it up about perfectly with his chair right in front. But because Brad, he's a big boy, he's like I said, he's well over 200 pounds. He's not going to move him so easily. So he's got to go get a hand truck, right? Or a dolly. He puts a dolly under there and he's got pivoting him because he's heavy, right? He lines him up just perfectly and the boxes are butted right together. So you got wood here, and of course the head's coming out of the boxes on both sides. You got Carla on this side, you got Brad on this side, and the boxes are right together. He goes, guys, this is going to be tremendously fun. It's going to be awesome. So Carla's starting to get a little worried, a little tear coming out of her. She's been crying the whole time, man. And rightfully so, because this guy is kind of freaky, right? He goes, Chirp, I'm going to need to borrow your hat. I hope you don't mind. He takes the top hat off and places the black hat, its top hat, you know, kind of like the kind of hat Slash would wear of Guns N' Roses, that sort of thing. He places that top hat right dead center. He takes a thumbtack, places it inside of the hat, and then presses down so the thumbtack goes into the wood of the boxes. He grabs that big old black box. It's huge, right? Starts shaking it. Can you guess what this is? And he sets that box down right near Carla's head. He races over to the bag again and he gets out a timer. You know, the kind of timer that you know, a little timer for the oven or whatever. It goes on for 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. Right? He takes that timer and places it near the head of Brad. He goes, now listen, guys, let me tell you what's going to happen, just so you know. I'm going to take this box here, and I'm going to lay it down in that hat, and then I'm going to tap on it, kind of like a magic trick. This is the hat trick, guys. And I'm going to tap on it. But what's in the box? There's, I don't know, I think the person at the pet store said there was 6,000 fire ants. And when I tap on that box, it's going to agitate the hell out of me. Then I'm going to pull a little slat from the bottom of the box, and all the ants are going to come out to find out who's agitating them. And it's going to be Carla and Brad. And we're going to do this for 3 minutes, okay? And Carla immediately starts getting creeped out. Why are you doing this to us? And Sid goes right to her face and says, Carla, do you remember what you said to me the very first day I met you? You do remember what you said, right? You said the chirp over here would squish me like an ant in 3 minutes. Remember you saying that? We'll see what ants can do to you in 3 minutes. And she's horrified, and Brad's saying, oh, this is a bad time. This is a bad time. Because you see the ants, fire ants, they're red. The hat is black. So they're going to be able to see them as they're coming pooling out of there. And you know how it is when ants get agitated. They will travel 10 miles to get you. Right? So he takes that timer from Brad's head. He turns it to about 3 minutes. Takes that big box and he sets it down in the hat. He taps on it. Tum, 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 tum. And then he releases it. And thousands of ants, man. They come crawling up the sides of the hat to the top of the hat, the brim, right there, underneath the brim, down the sides, and they start, oh, dude, it's just, oh, it's outrageous. These ants are crawling there, they're closing their eyes, they're biting them, and they're going inside the box. She is losing her mind. Not only because it's the insect creep factor, but because it's painful. Because these ants truly are biting them. I mean, they're biting their eyelids and their lips. And here they got that hook in there still. It's horrible, right? So while all this is going on, the ants are crawling inside the box and the outside, all over their head and their faces and such. You got Brad holding that little timer. He's like, dun, 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 dun. Do 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 da dun da dun bam ba da dun 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 do 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 and ticking away. And come 3 minutes, ding! Sid gets up and he races over to the bag and he grabs some ant and bug spray. He says, Carla, close your eyes. And shh. All this foam is all over it stuff. Shh. He puts it all over Brad, but you see, that's corrosive. It'll burn your skin. It'll give you chemical burn if you don't get it off in time, right? So he races over to the back of the garage, to the back of the warehouse, and grabs a little rag there, and he's wiping all the stuff off their, the bug spray off their faces, and he goes over to Brad and does the same thing. He goes, guys, wasn't that fun? You just can't imagine what I have set for Halloween. Oh, and you're going to be international superstars. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, I just can't wait. He goes, sorry about the bug spray, but I couldn't figure out any way to... And meanwhile, these ants are inside the box. They're still biting them, and they're contorting. And you have Brad over there. He's starting to get crampy because he hadn't had his potassium. He's been fed carbohydrates and protein the whole time. He doesn't have any potassium. So Sid gets up. He goes to the back of the warehouse. He comes back. He sits down in his chair. He goes, guys, listen. I know this has been so much fun. This has been a lot of fun. I know it has been. Oh, look at the time. You know what? I think it's time for your showers. You got Carla there. She's thinking, oh, there's a glimmer of hope she's going to get out of this box. Wrong. He goes to the back of the warehouse, right? He gets a bottle, one of these kind of little bottles. He gets another small bottle of the liquid soap, and he gets a damp washcloth. He comes down, he goes over to Carla's side, he goes, ladies first. Carla, you want to close your eyes for this, okay? He takes that water bottle and all around her face, her neck, because she still has that syrup on there from earlier. Not to mention the bug spray and the ants and all that nonsense, right? And she's so upset. She's still crying, right? Yeah. Then he takes a liquid soap and he puts it on the rag, gets it all soapy and such, and he's wiping it off her face. And he goes, "Okay, it's time for a rinse." He's wiping her face off and going through the hairline all the way around, right? He goes over to Brad and he says, "Brad, it's your shower time. Now listen, close your eyes. You don't want to get this in your eyes, right?" Right? He's getting that washcloth all soapy on one side and he starts washing them. Then he goes to Brad's eye and he takes a liquid soap and I mean, Brad is just climbing out of his skin because it's so freaking painful. You can imagine. And his eye is turning like bright red. I mean, it's terrible. And old Sid is like, "Did I do that? I'm so sorry." You know, it was an accident. He goes, "Okay, here we go." He puts in some water and he raises some water in again. He goes, "Did that get it out? Come on, Church. Sorry about that." You know? And he goes, "You know what? I really did love that top hat." Yeah, because you see, Carla showed me that picture where you were in the top hat. Who'd you think you were, Slash? Oh, did I speak too soon? You know, Halloween is just a couple of days away. This is going to be so much fun. And these people think, "Oh, God, this guy's had it," right? So he gets done with their shower, if you want to call it that. Goes to the back of the warehouse, puts all that stuff back. So he walks around and comes out the front part. He sits down in his chair. He says, guys, listen. I don't mean to be a cheapskate. I don't want to sound like I'm taking advantage or anything. But, you know, I'm feeding you. I'm giving you, like, snacks and stuff. And we've already gone fishing. And, you know, we got the ants and all that stuff. That costs money. And I've already blown through the $400 you had. And when I looked in her purse, she had, like, $38 in cash. And cheap-ass Chirpy here, he had, like, $18. Okay, I mean, it was kind of... Really, guys? I mean, you're both making good money. You should have a couple of $100 always. Anyway, what I'm just trying to say is, Carla, listen, I noticed that when I was digging around your purse and such, you had a debit card. And I was wondering, what's the PIN number? Because I need more cash. She goes, 1174. He goes, 1174. You know, if you're lying to me, Carla, we could go fishing again with treble hooks. What do you say? No, it's 1174. He's like, okay, all right. What is the absolute maximum that you can take out in a day? She's like, $500. He goes, okay, just to be conservative, I'll take out 3. I'll be right back because I got to do some major shopping. Because we got to prepare. We got to prepare for Halloween. And they're thinking, oh man, what's next, right? And Brad's thinking, what in the hell else did she tell him? Right? Because what she said to him on that first day is going to dictate what happens to both of them. It's going to be horrible. So he goes, okay, gotta go. Pew! He takes off, gets in the car, they can hear him driving away. See, Sid is no dummy. He knows when he goes to that ATM machine at the 7-Eleven, he's not going to do it at the bank, he's going to do it at 7-Eleven. He knows damn good and skippy what's going to happen. That ATM machine is going to get a picture of his face, but no, he's thinking ahead, see? So he brings along a piece of paper that already has a piece of tape affixed to it, right? With a generic number of a Pizza Hut or something like that on it, a bunch of little ridiculous notes that don't mean anything. He goes to the 7-Eleven, he kind of peers around. He knows where that ATM is. He's used it before himself. He pulls up to the side of it and slaps that piece of paper and sticks it right on to the machine where that camera is located. Lifts up the machine, types in, puts in the card, types in the PIN number, $300. Right? He gets the money and he goes shopping. He comes back hours upon hours later, right? It's damn near 6 p.m. It's almost dinner time. He comes in with bag after bag. Honey, I'm home. He's got 2 bags. He sets them down. He goes back out to the car. He's got 2 more bags. He sets them down. He starts pulling these things out of the bag. What's he got in the bag? Well, he's got these 2 lights. You know, the 2 kind of lights you use for construction? They're really bright. They're like, you know, they got these light bulbs in them that are so freaking bright. So he's got 2 of those. He's got a tripod and a camera. He's got a fan, extension cord. Man, he's got everything. Because, you see, he's got to prepare these people for the worldwide debut, because this stuff's going to be done live come Halloween. And tomorrow's going to be Monday, right? So they got to prepare. So he sets all this stuff. He's taking the extension cord and he's undoing it, plugging it in. He's plugging in the fan. He's setting up the lights. He's got the tripod there with the camera, trying to make it everything is, you know, wide angle so he can get both Carla and Brad in the shot. Right? Sets all this stuff up. He's like, guys, look at the time. It's supper time. It is supper time, because tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow we have to prepare. We have to prepare for Halloween. So let's go ahead and have your supper, shall we? He goes back in the back of the warehouse there. Here's some things going on, the microwave on and such. He gets that cart there. Comes out with the cart. What's on the cart this time? Well, there's 2 plates and 2 bananas on each plate. There's 2 bottles of tea and 2 straws. Brad's thinking he's going to get some potassium because he needs it, because he's been cramping up pretty bad, and that's painful. And anybody that has ever had a cramp in your calf or your arm or your hand or whatever, it's excruciating pain. So you know how it is. So Brad, he is welcoming this because he needs that potassium. So he goes down, he goes, okay guys, you got to start out with tea. You know what? Go ahead and drink your tea first. Just go ahead and drink all of it. So, ladies first. Goes over to Carla and she drinks all of her tea, all of it. And he peels the banana, right? And he goes, you know what? I've decided I'm not going to give you the banana. I'm going to eat it instead, because you know what? I'm starting to get cranky myself. Right? And here you have Sid. He eats all of the bananas. All of them. It's horrible. So Carla and Chirp, or Brad, they get nothing. They have no supper. He goes, you know what? Because the way you 2 acted during the 3 minute of ants, because the way you acted, I'm going to punish both of you. You get no supper tonight. But I tell you what, tomorrow we're going to have a big breakfast and we're going to make up for it, okay? Gotta go. Pew! He takes off. Brad is telling his wife, he goes, baby, you know it's going to get worse, and I know it's going to get worse. You have to be strong no matter what this weirdo does. You have to be super, super strong. We're going to make it, because tomorrow is Monday. And seeing that he took money out of your account, they're going to have a picture of him. But Brad doesn't know that Sid already covered that loophole, right? He goes, baby, we're going to be safe. Be strong, baby. Be strong. You can be strong. I know, baby, but I'm so sorry. Don't worry about it. Listen, it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be all right. You got to remember now, they're facing each other. See? So they're facing each other just like this. So they're able to talk to each other face to face. Hey, and they still got that hook in there. It's like, listen, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I promise. But man, I'm still... He's still trying to get out of that box, right? But he can't get out of that box. And he knows he can't get out of that box. So they talk and they try to not really conspire because they can't get out of the boxes, right? So it becomes, before you know it, it's dark and it's probably 10, 11 o'clock at night and they're exhausted. They still got the ants inside the box along with flies, and things are piling up in the boxes, if you understand my meaning. And the smell is horrendous. But hey, right? So they both fall asleep. 7 o'clock in the morning, they wake up. Because they've been conditioned that Sid's going to go flying through that door at 7 o'clock in the morning saying, hi honey, I'm home. But he didn't do it. So they start to thinking, hey, Maybe he was arrested. Maybe got pulled over. Maybe. But that's not the case. No, sir, no, ma'am. 8 o'clock, he comes flying in the door. Hi, honey, I'm home. Sorry I'm late. He goes, he starts walking down. And he goes, guys, listen, I have a logical explanation why I was late. He sits in his chair and he goes right up to him and he puts his arms on the boxes, because you see the boxes are put together like this, right? He puts his arms up and he goes, guys, listen, the reason why I was late is because I got you a special breakfast. I told you I'd make up for you not having supper last night, and I got you a big breakfast. I picked up Dunkin' Donuts, a whole dozen, and I brought you some iced coffee. What do you say? Isn't that great? Isn't that nice of me? I mean, even Carla, she provided some of the financing for that, but who cares? Anyway, we're going to have breakfast. So he takes 2 straws. He takes one of the straws, puts it in the iced coffee there, right? Gives it to Carla. Ladies first. And he's feeding her some jelly donuts, some chocolate-covered donuts, just regular donuts, right? Carbohydrates, right? And Brad there, he's willing to do anything. He's all for it. He's got the iced coffee there. Even though it's a diuretic, right? He's drinking the coffee there, and he's eating his donuts. But meanwhile, back at the office, what's going on there? Amy was there at 7 o'clock sharp, like she always is, at the candle manufacturer. And she noticed when she came in that Carla's car is in the parking lot. She also noticed that Carla did not see her in the break room, nor did she greet her as she always does every morning without fail. Carla's never been late. She's never called in sick. She's been there every single day for almost a year. She knows something's wrong. So she decides, Amy the manager decides she's going to call Carla's cell phone. She calls her cell phone. But the cell phone rings in her office. And the dial tone is very strange. The dial tone is some song called Human. I'm only human, born to make mistakes. La, da, da. So she knows she's not there, right? So she gets to thinking, on a hunch, she decides to look at her information dealing with emergency contact, on her employment form, right? She goes there, the emergency contact is Brad, her husband, who she's met, right? She immediately places a call to his cell phone, but he works from home. He doesn't answer either. After that, she calls the police because she knows something's wrong. She knows something's wrong. She doesn't even bother to ask Sid because Sid's last day was Friday, and she knows this, right? She calls up the police and says, listen, I have a situation. An employee is not here, but the car, she spills all out to him, right? She goes, I'm not related to these people, but I'm taking full responsibility. I would like to file a missing persons claim on Carla herself and her husband. Something is wrong. Well, she talked to a detective, Bradley. It's like, okay, we'll look into it. So Detective Bradley starts poking around in the financial division or the financial department of Carla's credit cards, her debit cards, and all this stuff, all this sort of thing, right? He's looking at her, NCIC report, see if she had any criminal history back in her past. He's looking at the criminal history of Brad to see if maybe there's some foul play on his part. No, he's got a clean record. He's got a couple of, parking situations and a couple of speeding tickets, nothing major. Carla, on her NCIC report, she had a very minor drug problem when she was really, really young, and a couple of speeding tickets too, nothing major. And then a hit comes in on her debit card that somebody pulled $300 from a 7-Eleven, and the detective contacted the banking institution that runs the ATM machine at 7-Eleven to see if they could pull a snapshot of who did that. They could not. They pulled a search warrant. They went to the residence of Carla and Brad. They're not there. They pulled another search warrant for Carla's car. She's not there, obviously. Then they pulled all the information for Brad to figure out his employment, what he drove, and they found out that he drove a truck. A 2015. It's a six-pack. It's a big truck. Well, the good thing is, if you remember, Brad had Bluetooth. Carla forgot her cell phone at the office. But you see, Brad also had OnStar on his vehicle. Detective Bradley contacted OnStar and got the GPS coordinates of where his truck was at. Well, his truck just happens to be in the parking lot at a brand new address, at a brand new building, which would be the warehouse that Sid has. And they are currently eating donuts and drinking coffee in boxes. And Sid is feeding them. Detective Bradley starts to rustle up some personnel so they can go out to this new address and new warehouse. Amy calls them and said, listen, I forgot one detail. We had an employee by the name of Sid. It was his last day. The last time I saw Carla, and for that matter her husband Brad, was with a guy named Sid that was moving something to a warehouse. We know. We're on our way there right this moment. So, as you can imagine, cop cars are blaring. But to get there is going to take a while. Because it's in the middle of nowhere. It's like, drive straight, left, right, U-turn, left, right. It's crazy to get to this place, right? Plus you got to go down dirt roads and all this stuff. So, after breakfast at the warehouse, Sid decides that he's going to go shopping again. Right? So, hell, by this time, it's creeping up on 9 o'clock. Right? He says, guys, I got to go, but I'll be back. Bet on that. And boom, he takes off. They hear him drive away. Well, within 15 minutes later, who rolls up? The police department. And they can hear several cars driving up. They can hear every detail, right? So they know, well, who are this? Is this more freak shows coming in to harass us? What's going on? And they can hear, oh, it's the police! And they're like, oh, and they start screaming. They're trying to get their attention. And they're pounding on the door to try to break it down. And they do break it down. And all the police come in there, and they come inside, and they're like, oh, shit, and the smell is just horrendous. You just can't even imagine. And the officers are coming in, they got their guns drawn, they're like, okay, where's he at? They're like, he's going to be back in a couple hours, he just left about half an hour ago. And and Brad's like, get me out of this box. Oh, he's furious, right? She's like, get me out. And Detective Bradley comes and says, listen, guys, I'm horribly sorry about this, but this is a crime scene, and we cannot get you out of these boxes until a criminal photographer or a police photographer comes in and takes pictures first. And Brad is out. He goes, what are you talking? Get me out of this. But they can't do it. So they call in a police photographer to come in. They start setting down cones and stuff, taking these pictures. They have the paramedics on standby, so they get those pictures taken. You got police officers going in the back. They're getting drilled. They're taking apart the boxes so they can free both Carla and Brad. Of course, ladies first. They do Carla first, or they're kind of doing them at the same time. So they get the side done, and Carla's folded up. She's got all these bite marks and the flies and ants and other stuff, And they kind of gently bring her down. Because let me tell you something. When you're in a position like this for days, you're not going to go, ta-da! It doesn't work like that. Now you have to go into what is called reacclimation. So here the paramedics are trying to slowly bring down her arm. She's like, because it's painful. They're doing the same thing. Brad kind of falls out of his side. The paramedics are trying to straighten him up and unfold him gently. It's a mess, man. It's a mess. So they're like, listen, he's going to be back. He's going to be back. And when he says he's going to be back, he's going to be back. So all the police cars, they all fan out. They park behind the building where you can't really see it from the other side, from the street coming in, right? They got choppers up. They're waiting for this guy to come back because they're going to nab him as soon as he does. Sure enough, he drives in a couple hours. He's got all these bags and such. He doesn't notice anything different, right? But he can see the door's been busted into, and he's thinking that they've escaped somehow. He's thinking that Brad may be busted out of the box and they've escaped. So he goes racing in, he looks in, and bam! Police get him, boy. They tackle him down to the ground. You're under arrest, da da da. They read his rights. They put him in the police car for kidnapping and all this stuff. Meanwhile, Carla and Brad, they're at the hospital. And they're in horrible psychological shape. But physically, they're in good shape. They were well fed. They had plenty to drink. But they were in a bad state of mind for obvious reasons. Obvious reasons. So hell, it's dark now. Monday night, which is Halloween Eve. The hospital releases them, discharged them from the hospital, both together, in which Brad himself placed a call into the manager, Amy, to see if they could go by if she'd meet her there, to go by the office, the candle manufacturer, to pick up Carla's car and her cell phone, in which they do, and they drive home together. And once they get home, they walk in their own house. She's hugging her husband, boy. And Brad's like, baby, you did good. You did good. You did real good. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You were so strong. And look at us, baby. Look at us. We're in our own house. And we get to eat our own food on our own plates. Baby, you did good. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's getting choked up again. And he goes, no, baby, you did good. He goes, you know what? I'm going to take off a week, and you're going to take off a week, and we're going to, if we can survive something like this, we can survive anything. You did great. Oh, baby, I love you so much. And she's just like putty in the end. She's just melting, right? Because she's happy to be home. So Halloween is the very next day. 7 o'clock, they both wake up automatically. Because they've been trained to wake up at 7 o'clock. And they just can't help it. They woke up at 7 o'clock, both of them. They're getting their own coffee on their own plates, in their own house, and using the facilities in the bathroom on their own, without being dictated by some twerp or whatever, right? They have breakfast. They cook their own breakfast. They eat their own breakfast on their own. They're sitting down on the couch, watching a little bit of TV. Brad's got his arm around her. Goes, baby, I love you so much. You're so strong. I wouldn't trade you for anything in the world. And all of a sudden the phone rings. But whose phone is it? Well, it's Carla's phone. I'm only human, born to make mistakes. Huh? And she races over there. Hello? Yes, Carla, this is Detective Bradley. I need to talk to both you and Brad. I was wondering if you'd place me on speakerphone. Oh yeah, sure. She lays down the phone, puts it on speakerphone. Hey, Brad, you need to come in here. It's Detective Bradley. You go, I'll be right there. He comes in. We sit down together. They're listening. They're like, yes? Yeah, Brad, this is Detective Bradley with the police department here, and we're doing the investigation with Sid and the whole 9 yards. And we just wanted to let both you and Carla know that the person that perpetrated this all on you was not Sid after all. And Carla starts freaking. What are you talking about? You wrestled it. And Brad's like, what the heck? He goes, no, wait a minute, guys, listen. When we pulled the search warrant for Sid's property, his house, we found Sid deceased. Carla's looking at Brad like, what? The person that perpetrated this entire fiasco against you both was his twin brother out of California. I'm Monograph, and if you can't speak freely, you are simply not free. Have a good day.